I've lost 94 pounds in the last 15 months. Here's some proof. And the biggest reason that I got to 243 pounds was alcohol. Okay? I would drink so much alcohol. I had over a bottle of wine a night. When the kids went to bed, that was me time. I would sit on the couch, watch my favorite show, and I would just drink wine. Okay? Alcohol is so high in calories. Okay? Just a bottle of wine is over 1,000 calories, and I was drinking that every night. Okay?
Drinking a bottle of alcohol every night is quite a lot of alcohol. And especially considering how the weight loss industry looks at alcohol, we often hear things such as, alcohol is liquid fat. If you drink, your body will stop burning fat for 48 hours. And you can't be fit and have a social life. Do any of these statements sound familiar? That's because most diet plans tell you to give up alcohol. The moment that you say you want to lose weight, then the health police come for you. And more specifically, they come for your wine glass or your wine bottle. And they tell you that alcohol is the ultimate progress killer, that those empty calories that you're consuming are your one-way ticket to a weight loss plateau. And because most recently scientists have concluded that alcohol in no amount is safe for our health, many women have taken this to also mean that it's also definitely bad when it comes to weight loss. And so we start turning down dinner invites, we start feeling like failures if we have a glass of wine at a wedding or any other occasion, and we spend our weekend nights feeling deprived as everyone else toasts to the end of a week and we're there drinking water or a mocktail. But will drinking a gin and tonic actually cancel out all of the work that you have done that week? Or can you have your wine and lose your weight too? Today we are going to pour out the truth when it comes to alcohol and your waistline. Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm Daisy, aka D. And if you're tired of diets that feel like a punishment, you have come to the right place. Welcome. Today's myth is what we will call a buzzkill, and that is, you need to cut out alcohol if you want to lose weight. I see this constantly in my Better in 90 program, and I see this constantly on social media. Women often feel that they have to choose between losing weight and having a social life. And that's because they think that if they have one margarita or one good cocktail, that they will reset their entire weight loss progress. But the truth is, from a purely weight loss perspective, alcohol is not a blocker that many people think that it is. Let's talk about the math of the 7 calories per gram, why the nibbles are the actual villain when it comes to drinking alcohol and not the drink itself, and how you can fit alcoholic drinks into your weight loss plan without stalling or losing your progress. But before I get into all that, let me show you another inspiring video of a lady who gave up alcohol and also gave up her extra pounds.
If you drink alcohol and you wish you could lose a couple pounds, it's probably just the alcohol. I'm gonna show you what I looked like when I was having that's a loud car, when I was having 2-3 White Claws a day. Here's my face now, and here's my face when I was drinking that much. Another one. Here you can see I had a similar thing to what I think Astravino has going on. Here's me now for reference. But yeah, I quit drinking and the pounds fell off insane, crazy style. I did exercise intentionally. I wanted to lose some weight, just personal choice, but not enough to make sense for how much weight I lost and how fast. It really keeps a lot of weight on you in a very unhealthy way. I feel like it's important to mention that having weight on your body to the aesthetic preference you want from food is not the same as having weight on your body from alcohol. Having weight on your body from alcohol is only unhealthy ever. But yeah, if you quit drinking, just watch it fall off. It's insane how that happens.
If you saw me laughing, it's because Astravino was catching strays for some reason. But without getting into that entire law online, let's talk about the math of the martini. Now, I want to be very clear, when it comes to this video, I am approaching it from an entirely weight loss perspective and not health. Because when it comes to health, we have had all types of conflicting studies over the years. Some scientists argue that it's okay for women to have alcohol as long as it's in moderation. Others argue that it can only be red wine. And more recently, we have had scientists say that no amount of alcohol is actually safe for consumption. Now, given all those nuances, I believe that when it comes to your medical health, this is a conversation that you should have with your doctor. In this case, I will be focusing on the weight loss aspect. And that's because when it comes to weight loss, it's all about the numbers, as simplified as that may seem. And that brings us to part 1, where we talk about the calories. Now, why does alcohol get such a bad reputation when it comes to calories? The simple answer is because it is very sneaky. You see, proteins and carbs average 4 calories per gram, and then you have alcohol, which comes in at 7 calories per gram, and that leaves it just below fat, which is 9 calories per gram, but above proteins and carbohydrates. And so if you were looking at it in terms of food, it would be more calorically dense compared to a potato, but slightly less than butter. But people don't often know this. At the same time, because alcohol comes in liquid form, it's shots, it's tequila shots, it's more like good cocktails, it's very easy to drink it and not even realize just how many calories you're consuming. Like, it's so easy to drink 300 or 400 calories. It's so easy to drink an entire bottle of wine and still have room for some more alcohol, because when you go out to drink, it's very hard to see someone just have one glass of wine or just one cocktail and call it a night. People often go for several drinks over hours, and before they know it, or before you know it, you have had a second dinner, a third dinner, a fourth dinner, and so on. And that's why people find that they often gain weight as long as they are drinking alcohol. But that's because people often drink a lot of alcohol without realizing just how calorically dense it is. But what exactly happens when you give up alcohol, purely from a calories perspective? Let's hear what this creator says.
Have you ever wondered what giving up drinking would be like? What about for 3 months? Well, I'm Madison Sutton, aka the NYC agent. I'm 24 years old, I live here in New York City, and I did just that. So today I'm going to be doing a part 1 on some changes that I personally saw, including drinking culture, weight loss, and other physical changes. With just a quick disclaimer, I don't really have an angle with this. I haven't found a way to particularly define my relationship or label my relationship with alcohol, and I don't really feel the need to, so quick. So this was me mid-December. I was weighing about 150 pounds, which is a little bit heavier than I typically am. I typically come in around 140, I'm 5'8", and I just also want to say, I think I look totally fine like this, I think I look totally fine like this, but this was at the beginning. And this is now, I lost about 20 pounds, give or take, depending on the day. I'm now hovering around 128, 130. Again, I think I look fine like this, I think I look fine like that. I do have a ton more energy, which I can create a compound effect.
I have to say she looks really good in all the pictures, but the focus here is on weight loss. She lost 20 pounds in 3 months just by giving up alcohol. And also, I'll go on a small tangent here. I think it's really interesting how nowadays, if you're posting a before and after picture when it comes to weight loss, you kind of have to be like, I really liked how I looked in the first photo, and I also really like how I look in the second photo, because people often come under fire for posting before and after pictures, because some people will say, are you saying that body number 1, in the before picture was bad and now body number 2 is somehow better? I think that's a really interesting conversation, but veering away from that, we can now move on to the part 2, which is the inhibition effect, which is what causes many people to lose weight when they give up alcohol, and it's not just the calories in the alcohol. So what do I mean by this? The real reason that alcohol consumption causes weight gain is not just the calories in the alcohol. It's not just those 7 calories per gram. It's the lowered inhibitions. When you drink alcohol, the part of your brain that says you've had enough food, it's time to stop eating, goes on a break. And suddenly eating greasy burgers or going out for pizza starts feeling like a really good idea. Even if you're on a weight loss journey, you start feeling very inclined to go and eat all these high calorie foods, whether it's 3 a.m. fries or you're just eating a platter with your friends because you're out. On top of getting you to eat more, alcohol is also known to disrupt your sleep patterns. And research has shown that when you're not getting enough sleep in terms of quality and quantity, then you're likely to experience cravings that will again lead you to lower your inhibitions when it comes to food. And all of this creates this domino effect that starts with, yes, the alcohol, but then leads to all of these other decisions that lead to weight gain. And when it comes to these lowered inhibitions, we go back to the first creator because she sums this up quite well.
But that's not the only thing. Alcohol makes me want to eat more. Okay, I can have full self-control of not eating too much, but when I have alcohol, it does something to my brain where I'm like, I just want to eat. And it like alters my brain, and I can't control myself, and I can't say no to it, and I'll just eat. Like last night, I was fine, I was full, I didn't even want food, and then I went and had a glass of wine. I don't drink that often now, but I had a glass of wine. And instantly, after that glass of wine, I wanted to eat. And it was like, it's so much harder to say no to snacking after having a little bit of alcohol, because it like your brain isn't all the way there. Okay, you don't have that self-control. And it's like crazy, because last night I was just like, what is this? Like, what is this? And obviously back then too, I would have alcohol and then I want to eat something. But if I just didn't have the alcohol, I probably wouldn't even eat something. Alcohol makes me want to eat more. And it like doesn't let me have that self-control to say no. And I just go and eat. And that's why I was 243 pounds. Giving up alcohol and not drinking as much is one of the biggest reasons I have lost weight. And I've been able to keep it off.
She's right about that. But let's say that you still want to drink alcohol and you still want to lose weight. Can you drink and still lose weight? The short answer is yes. When you're on a weight loss journey, alcohol cannot magically stop your fat loss as long as you're in a calorie deficit. People often argue that as long as you're drinking alcohol, then your body will turn to alcohol as its preferred source of energy and it will not burn any other fat. That means if you're in a calorie deficit and you're drinking alcohol, then your body will still just hold on to the fat that you have accumulated over the previous periods. But is that true? The truth is that if your glass of wine or any other alcohol that you're taking fits into your calorie budget for the day, then you will still remain in a calorie deficit and your body will still burn fat. The fear that alcohol somehow stops your body from burning fat is a myth. The truth is that your body will prioritize getting through burning that alcohol first because it cannot store it. But once that alcohol has been processed, your body goes back to burning other fuel, and that means if you're in a calorie deficit, it has gotten through the alcohol, then it will go back to burning, all the fat that you want burned off, and that puts you in a deficit and that helps you lose weight. So anyone who tells you that you cannot actually lose weight while enjoying your cocktails is wrong. But again, like I said, I'm approaching this from a weight loss perspective and not health. If your doctor says that you need to lay off the alcohol, then that's just another conversation. But that said, let's come to our verdict. In my Better in 90 program, we don't believe in going dry unless you have to. After all, as they say, life is for the living. And as other people often say, you only live once. But if you do it right, once is enough. And that means if you enjoy an occasional drink, you can absolutely make it work. And here are my 3 strategies on how you can make this happen. First, you need to budget for the bars. In the same way that we often leave room for decadent desserts like cookies and cakes, you can think of alcohol as your dessert. And that means if you know that you're going to be having alcohol later, then you can skip some extra stretch during the day, or you can skip a snack. Just do something that enables you to remain in a calorie deficit even if you do have the alcohol. Because at the end of the day, it's all about balancing your total calories and making sure that you're in a deficit. Secondly, you need to watch out for the mixer trap. And with alcohol, this is very easy. You see, alcohol is already very high in calories, the 7 calories per gram. And that means if you're taking a shot of vodka, you're going to take about 65 calories. Now, if you take the same shot of vodka and your bartender is like, hey, let's add something in there, and they add extra syrup, now that same shot of vodka has not gone up to 250 calories, which is like almost 4 times the plain shot of vodka. So as much as yes, you can indulge in these extras now and then, you need to pay attention to these. In most cases, it's better to stick to the simple mixers such as soda water and lime, or just drink your wine spritzer style. This helps you remain in that festive mood so that you don't feel like you're being left out if you actually enjoy drinking alcohol, and at the same time you're still ensuring that you're keeping your calories low so that you're still within your energy budget. And that you need to follow the food first rule. This is something that I learned when I first started drinking. I no longer drink, but when I first started drinking, this was something that was drummed into me. You always have to have food. In Kenya, we call it makalio. Yeah, you always have to have food in your stomach before you start drinking alcohol. And this is for a good reason. In our case, we used to do it so that the alcohol would not go straight to our heads. But when it comes to weight loss, when you have had adequate protein and fiber before you have drunk, you are more satiated, you're fuller, and you're less likely to have lowered inhibitions that can force you or, push you to eating high calorie foods when you're under the influence of alcohol. So whether it's because you're trying to avoid that really fast buzz, or it's because you're trying to keep your calories low, having food before you drink your alcohol is always a good idea. If you want to see the scale moving downwards, you don't actually have to go dry. And that's because weight loss is about the big picture and not the effects that an occasional cocktail will have on your weight loss journey. So that means you can keep your portions moderate, watch out for the late snacks, and stay consistent, because consistency will always beat perfection. If you go out and you have drinks and you end up eating snacks, that's okay. You just go back to doing what you are doing, the thing that was working, and you continue down that road until you get to where you want to go. So what's your favorite low-calorie alcoholic drink when you go out? I no longer drink, so I no longer have something to offer. I used to be a fan of rosé, and I will have it plain because rosé is just sweet. But what's yours? Let me know in the comments, and give this video a thumbs up if you're happy that you don't actually have to cancel happy hour, and hit subscribe so that you don't miss out on next week's myth. I'll see you in the next one.